All right, so I'll go ahead and ask at this time, is there any corrections to the minutes? All right, if there's no corrections, the minutes will stand as approved. All right, so I'd like to introduce our sponsored speaker. Matthew Perry is the Director of Student Housing and Residential Life, to talk a little bit about living on campus.
Perfect. Thank you all for having me. I appreciate the time. How is everyone? Hopefully a great Tuesday here, transition back from the break.
Yes, for sure.
And feel free to go to the next slide if you wouldn't mind. Thank you.
Okay.
So my time is brief, everyone, so I will be brief as well. I'm Matt Perry, your Director of Student Housing. Thank you again for having me. I'm here just to talk with you a little bit about living on campus. So we're in year 3 of Hunter Hall. This is our traditional suite style hall on campus. We have a great group of students here in spring semester. We have about 141 people right now. So we're pretty packed in terms of our COVID capacity. But at the same time, we're also recruiting for fall right now. So the fall application is open, which is why I'm here. So any students looking for housing or thinking of living on campus for fall semester and the following spring semester, now is the time to reserve your spot in Hunter Hall. So like I said, traditional suite style hall. Students that live on campus historically across the nation have higher grade point averages. They feel more connected to their faculty. They feel that connection to campus life. It's easier to make friends and to get involved. That's what we're all about in housing on this campus with Hunter Hall. And so whether you want that traditional experience, having that roommate safely, or you want to have that semi-shared single or that true private single, we really do have a little something for everyone at Hunter Hall. And everything we do, we want this to be your home away from home experience. And so that's why we have things like free printing. We don't want you to have to go to a lab and go outside the hall for that resource. So you can print for free. You can do your laundry for free. And so you just walk up to the machine, press a button, we'll show you how to do your laundry, and then you're good to go. From a safety standpoint, we have live-in staff members, professional and students to kind of help and assist you as you navigate your journey. We have a pretty eclectic group of people over here. And so we have a large population of Latinx students, Hispanic students, Black African-American students, white students. We have international students. We have LGBTQ students, Jewish students, a couple veterans. And so it really is a very nice mix of that rich UHCL culture in this building. So we have plenty of space for studying, lounging around. We do great events throughout the semester, tons of fun programs. I'll give you a couple examples. RHA has done painting with the residents before. If you're interested in that, we do open mic nights. Once a semester, we will rent out a local movie theater just for the Hunter Hall residents. That's been very fun. We've done that since our 2nd year. Very well received from the students. And then we bring the academic and campus resources in the building as well. We've had Education Abroad come in the building to talk about the value of studying abroad. We've had partnerships with Faculty Senate come in the building to talk about internships and a variety of other things. And so when you live on campus, we really bring the resources and those valuable life skills to you. And then if I can get you to go to the next slide, please. And then just to wrap up here, these are some of those core benefits of living on campus. I already gave you some of these. Some of the bigger ones located in the heart of campus. You can literally roll out of bed and go to class. Hunter Hall and living on campus is a great transition step to just being independent and living on your own. So it's that great step between living at home or living in an apartment and buying a home, that living on campus in a traditional residence hall. We have all the safety there. You're kind of doing your own thing, but you're doing your own thing alongside your peers and alongside your friends, and then your faculty is just a couple steps away. And so that's my spiel. The housing apps for fall and spring are open right now. If you have any questions or you'd like to take a tour of the residence hall and kind of see what we're all about, I'm going to post some information in the chat. But with that, I will pause and see if there are any questions.
I have one question for for students who are interested in moving in the fall, uh, do y'all have like what dates would be the move-in? Would they move in the summer kind of to prepare, or is it right at the beginning of the semester?
Sure, great question. So we do have some students who will stay in the summer who are taking classes. Every year, we also have students who will move in early for a variety of reasons. So if you want to move in early just to help with that transition to living on campus, or it's just better timeline for you, given your home life and situation, we're happy to do that. Typically, the residents will move in about a week before classes start. So when you look at that first day of classes in August, if you back that up kind of a week or at least a few days, that's what we're going to do for next year. And so that third weekend in August is kind of what we're looking at from move-in based on when the academic calendar is. Good question. All right. And with that, I just want to say thank you all for the time, and SGA, thank you for the space to talk about housing. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
All right, you too. Thank you. All right. All right. So thank you again, Matthew Perry, for coming and sharing that with us. Go ahead and move. Right. So, yeah, once again, if you or your department or division would like to sponsor a meeting, you can email us at our SGA email, this one right here on the screen, and we can get you signed up to be a sponsor for one of our meetings. All right, so moving on to the fund requests with our new business for today. Our current balance is at $21,520.96, and currently no fund requests have been submitted. We really want to try to use a majority of this allocation balance to give out to students, because it's the money for the student organizations to use. We're going to talk a little bit about how to make a fund request today and some of the little specifics, and give everybody opportunity to ask some questions on it, just so we can kind of make it more clear and how the process is supposed to go. And then in addition, if you have any questions, you can always email us. This link right here is the form to submit a fund request, and we'll also post that in the chat. All right. So Jay is not here with us yet today. So let's see. I guess I will go ahead and start with the constitutional updates. So I guess a little update would be that we've gotten counseling from General Counsel about our Constitution and some of the things that it contains, and some of the things that they would like us to change about our Constitution. So it's kind of been mandated to us by General Counsel, these things that they want to change. However, we need to bring that to the student body in order to make the constitutional changes. So we're presenting them today so that student body will be aware of, I guess, these mandatory changes, and we can kind of go through the process as well as making y'all aware. So just to review, since we haven't voted on anything since the fall, here's how the voting procedure goes. One person will state that they open and move discussion on the amendment, and then they'll state the number of the amendment. Another person will back that up by supporting, saying I second that motion. And then we discuss the motion, talk about the amendment, and then so there's different types of motions. You can do a friendly amendment, which is saying like, I'm just trying to bring this up. And I'm open to changes on this amendment. Limit discussion is saying that I don't want this amendment to be on the floor for max certain amount of days, and I just want to limit discussion to this meeting. So there's 3 different potential votings that you can pass on an amendment, for being in favor, opposed, or you can abstain, which means that you're neither in favor or opposed. And then after that, we'll go ahead and announce the totals and if it passed or failed. All right, so the first one brought forth by General Counsel is this 07 FY22. It's coming from the section 1 of our funding guidelines, and the amendment is to remove the following. it currently reads that among the factors to be considered in allocating money to a specific organization should be the number of students who will benefit. So we've received guidance that the above removal will allow for content neutral decision making in which student organizations receive funds. So to move forward on this amendment, we can go ahead and have a person state if they move to open discussion about the amendment.
I move to.
And then if you could just, I know we're on Zoom, so for the record, if you could just type your name in that you and say I move, I think that would work best. All right. Thank you. Do I have a second? All right. Thank you, Alexis. All right. So basically, as I was discussing, that this has been an amendment coming from General Counsel about the current state of our Constitution and things that they would like to see amended. So just to go back, this is what it currently states, and then this is the part that we would be removing. Does anybody have any questions or things they want to discuss before we move on to the voting? Okay. Okay, perfect. So any student on campus can vote on these amendments. So whether you're a part of a registered student organization, sure, I can go back one slide. So whether you're part of a registered student organization or you're just a standalone student on campus, you still have the right to vote on these amendments as they go through. So even if you're today representing somebody, you can vote, or if you're just not representing an organization, you're still allowed to vote. And we do ask that you do vote or use your voting rights. Okay. All right. So for the first part of it, Molly, are you good with that slide? Okay. All right. So we'll just go ahead and start the voting process. All in favor of passing this vote, just type in chat your in favor vote. Did you tell it 15? Okay. All right, so I believe we have 15 in favor. Last time I count. So we'll move to any opposed. And any abstentions? All right, awesome. So amendment proposal 07 FY22 will pass with 15 in favor, 0 opposed, and 0 abstentions. All right, next amendment is 08 FY22. So it currently reads in the section 1 of the funding guidelines that, sorry, let me go to the next slide. It currently reads, in order to request $400 or more from student government for any particular event, at least 2 of the organization's officers must have attended, and it reads the workshop on policies and procedures for organizations event, which is a 3-hour workshop sponsored by the Student Life Office several times per semester. We'd like to replace the part that says workshop on policies and procedures, etc., with all required workshops outlined by the Office of Student Involvement and Leadership. So the rationale behind this is just that the Student Life Office no longer exists, and this role has been taken over by OSSLE, which is Office of Student Office of Student Involvement and Leadership, sorry. So this is the original content, and then this is the sentence that we would like to replace it with. The reason is that it removes the specific workshops as those have changed with the moving to OSSLE, and then it adds flexibility in their requirements to be most up to date. All right. Do I have any movement to open discussion on the amendment? Okay, thank you. And then any second? Okay, perfect. Does anybody have any questions that they want to ask about the motion? All right, sure, go ahead.
Yes, my question is, I'm a member of LSA, Legal Studies Association, and my question is about the looseness or the flexibility in the language. Since we're changing it from a specific workshop to all required workshops, and this language is a lot more ambiguous, my concern is that students are unaware of the type of workshops that are required in order to make a request. So is there a reason, is there another workshop specifically that's in development, or is the sole reason different than the workshops altogether? Is it just because of the clause? I don't really understand the rationale.
Right, so I know that the previous works, Erica, do you want to shine some light on?
Okay, I wasn't sure if you're going to start or, okay. In essence, and to answer the questions in the chat as well, the required workshops, as it currently stands, is like the registration workshop for returning orgs, as well as the transition workshop. And then for new orgs, it would be the registration workshop and the get involved workshop. So the logic behind that was that this would allow for, like, if we change the name of those workshops, it would still be the required registration workshops for an org to be considered fully registered with the Office of Student Involvement and Leadership. Does that make sense, or should I further clarify?
I understand. Thank you for the clarifications.
Absolutely. And Lily Beth from the chat, did that clarify? Amazing.
All right.
Jessica, you're welcome to come off mute if you'd like, or add your question to the chat. As it currently stands, it wasn't a 3-hour workshop, even like those combination of workshops. So that's why that specific time frame allows for some flexibility as well in case it's not 3 hours. So to answer your question, the times, in essence, the length of them could change, but we were offering them at varying times to, you know, be able to meet the majority of people's needs. And then we're looking at, you know, what those will look like in the future to be even more flexible to people's needs as well. So yes, both the time of them, as in the length, as well as the time that they are offered, could change. Let me know if that answers your question. Okay, amazing.
But not making it longer than 3 hours, right?
So, uh, like my question is here in the previous statement, it says like per semester. So is it like the old organizations or the old members do not have to attend every semester? Or how do you see that?
You said in the previous slide, Ganesh?
Like where in the old
In the
one,
bottom.
it says that a 3-hour workshop sponsored by the student life office several times per semester. That means like, is it like again every semester they have to like registered organization has to attend, or is it like just once they do it? And
So the re-registration season would be once per like academic year in essence, but we will offer, so for example, we have a leadership development series that is coming up for student orgs, but those aren't required. They're just trainings to help you all, further grow as student leaders, but not required. So it would just be the workshops that are required for you to be a registered student organization to our office, not those optional ones that might appear throughout the academic year. This was specifically referencing to re-register your organization, those workshops that were happening generally during the summer or during the registration season.
So would it
Which-
be helpful to add that this has to be completed only once per academic year in this amendment?
Maybe perhaps, maybe at the end, adding like to re-register your organization in the event that someone were to register their organization at a different time, it wouldn't be, I don't know, forcing them to any specific time frame, but rather to register your organization. All required workshops outlined by the Office of Student Involvement and Leadership to re-register your organization, or to register your organization, not the re part. We're taking everyone on such a journey right now.
Okay, so because ooh, okay, I see. Well, I guess I was seeing this one as like more as a part of the ability to request funds and not the registration. Or are they like one and the same for this purpose?
They are one and the same because the organization would have to be registered to request funds.
Okay. All right. So I guess I make a motion to make a friendly amendment and add, okay. Go ahead real quick, Darius.
Okay, yeah, this is real quick. Sorry to be nitpicky, but since we're on it right now, I see that it says for any particular event. The word particular suggests that it's a specific event, but the word before it says any. So just for clarity and basic language here, is it okay if we fix that so that it does not say particular and suggests that there's a specific event?
Sure, I think I can make it more clear. Here,
That's
And
my
then-
only thing, that's all.
Thank you, Randall. And then Lily Beth, to answer your question, yes, you would re-register during registration season, which we plan to open in April of this year and close at the start of the semester in, I believe, early August. Don't quote me on the specific dates, but that would be the registration season where you'd re-register your organization and complete these required workshops that we're referencing in this amendment. Did that help? You're very welcome.
All right, so let me add these changes. So sorry, I'm on this Mac, y'all, and it's rough trying to. Okay, reshare this. Okay, so the changes are from the any particular to any, and then we would change at that academic year at the end. Is that kind of what am I right on what we discussed?
Perhaps a matter of perspective. I think that works. But I think it would maybe further clarify to say like to register your organization
Okay,
somewhere.
all right, so I have all required workshops outlined by also that academic year in order to register your organization.
Perhaps each rather than that, like each academic year.
Okay, yeah. Okay. All right, without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and move to the voting for this amendment. So we start off with in favor votes. So all in favor of the amendment as it stands with the friendly amendments made to the amendment. We're gonna go ahead and start voting now. So all in favor, you may type your vote in the chat. All right, so we count 17 in favor. We'll go ahead and move to any opposed. All right, and we'll move to any abstentions. Okay. All right. This amendment will pass with 17 in favor, 0 opposed, and 1 abstention. Okay, everybody, thank you for hanging tight as we go through these amendments. I appreciate y'all adding your input and making your votes. Okay, so next amendment from addendum to student government bylaws, student funding guidelines, section 2. We move to strike budget for workshops, special event, student government funds, or budget for travel, SG funds. This form must be attached to the special event form when it is submitted to the Student Life Office for approval. Use of other budget formats must be approved in advance by the Student Life Office. And then we are going to change that to as well as all required documents to the Office of Student Involvement and Leadership for approval. So this one is similar to the one that we did before in saying that it will just remove the Student Life Office that doesn't exist any longer and kind of transfer that ownership to OSSL. And then now we'll move to open discussion on this amendment 09 FY22. All right, thank you, Alexis. Do I have a second? All right, thank you. All right, so does anybody have any questions about the nature of this amendment or any questions on the amendment? I can go back to the original.
Yeah, my only comment on this is, once again, there's a lot of loose language. All required documents, we go from having a specific form that we can fill out to now I'm not sure which form to fill out. So that's really all I'm kind of wondering about.
I know that, sorry, so previously we did have these workshops in the budget. Those things will still be involved, but I do get what you're saying about not having a specific thing that you can look towards. We are doing this as a friendly amendment, so if we have any adjustments that we can make to make this more specific, maybe from also if y'all have any form names that you guys would like to put in this particular area.
I was trying to process. mm, Well, I guess I'm trying to process because like the like specific requirements are listed out on like the fund request form itself. So I mean this perhaps
So the
SG fund request form.
so we could strike this, change the written budget to complete a student government fund request form. But then that would leave us with this as well as required.
Correct.
Right, exactly. So not really. Exactly. So
I would say yes to that as well, Randall. Like primarily yes to change the name of the office, but then also because this specific name, like budget for workshop / special event / SG funds or budget for travel event - SG funds are not the specific name of the forms. It's just the student government fund request now, like form on Get Involved. So that's why we're all a bit stumbled on like what to call it. If that's helpful context. Because in addition to like the initial form, when you're turning in your receipts, there's like more forms. So I think that's the kind of the reason for the lack of specific names. Randall, okay. Oh, okay.
all right. With the changes that we've made, I believe we could take another look at this, revisit, and then we can pass it for next meeting or re-present it for next meeting. Let me make this big again. So just to restate, we're not going to be voting on 09 today, and it'll be on the docket for next week's agenda. Okay. So this one, 10 DAC F, give me a second, y'all. 10 TAC FY22 is to remove the following. The benefit students in the university. Does this event, project, activity enhance the educational and professional goals and image of UHL students, the sponsoring student organization, and the university? And this is another one that was from guidance from the UH System Office of General Counsel to allow content neutral decision-making in which student organization will get funds. All right, so we're gonna open the floor for any discussion on this amendment. All right, could I get a second on that motion? All right. Any questions or clarification we can make for this amendment? The floor is open for any questions and discussion. So for this one came from the Offices of General Counsel to allow for content neutral decision making in which student orgs are going to receive funds. And I'll leave this one up so everybody can see.
So they're suggesting that we remove it, but did they express a reason behind that? Or is it just something that they just want us to do?
Go ahead,
Thanks,
Bill.
Shelby. All right, awesome.
I could elaborate. You know, thinking about what activities benefit the students and universities can have biases along with it. You know, who's to say one activity benefits students and who's to say one does not benefit the students. So this just allows for more bias in the process, was their thought.
Bias isn't necessarily bad. It doesn't. I understand they're questioning this, or as it's read, right? I understand that because it does open up a lot of uncertainty. But at the same time, I don't see that bias as being bad because I've used this in the past. Personally, I think it doesn't harm the student body. It's kind of like a gun, you know. It's who's wielding it that's the problem.
All right, I think that's good input on it. And I would say for y'all to keep that in mind when you're casting your vote. So does anybody else have any discussion that they want to make on the topic?
I have a question. Will we be replacing this with something else?
As of right now, I don't have an amendment written to replace it. It's just been a straight removal of the section, but there hasn't been anything to replace it right now.
Okay, there is a possibility of being replaced in the future.
I will add that they did also provide guidance on funding criteria, I believe is a specific language. And so if you go on the fund request form that's currently on Get Involved, you'll find that full list of criteria that I wouldn't say necessarily replaces this, because there's basically there was a removal of things that could be perceived as subjective. So, but there are a list of criteria that have been developed and streamlined.
So a little bit, there is a future amendment that I believe addresses some more of the bias as far as the financial analysis portion. But I believe that this one does address some too. All right. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and make a vote for this amendment. We'll start off with any in favor votes, and you're free to cast your vote in the chat. All right, so that's 10 in favor. We'll go ahead and move on to any opposed votes. If you have opposed, make sure to write your vote in the chat. And if you abstain, write your vote in the chat. All right, and just to make sure, if you're voting, do not direct message it to me. Yeah, go ahead and put it in the everyone chat, just so that we can have our tallies. So 8. All right. So we have a total of 10 in favor with, I believe at this time, 8 abstentions. So at this time, this amendment has failed to pass, and we will move on. All right. I believe this is the last one. Okay. So from the funding guidelines of financial analysis, the amendment F11 FY22 is to remove the following. The 3 sections are the organization subsidy, the income potential, and the cost to benefit relationship. The guidance was to specifically remove the expected attendance? Is it realistic based on planned marketing strategies? How many members of the university community will benefit in relation to the cost of the event, project, or activity? As well as the other two, the organization subsidy, how much are they putting into their own event? And then the income potential for admission being charged. This was another one that came from guidance from the UH System Office of General Counsel for content neutral decision making. And now we'll go ahead and open the floor for somebody to make a motion to discuss. All right, thank you, Felicia. Do I have a second? All right, Ganesh, thank you. All right, so we're gonna open the floor to any questions on or discussion on this amendment.
I have a question. What specific reasons are we removing these aside from the council saying that they should be removed? Because these have been around for a while. I mean, I got here in 2018 and some of these were in place.
Right. I believe to basically target the biases that can come from using these things to determine which organizations are getting funding over another one. So if you have, say, for example, a new organization that might just be trying to start up and they might not have large attendance at their events or large income potential or funds to pour into an event, it might be biased towards longer standing organizations that have those things to pour into an event and kind of highlight that a little bit more. So I think this kind of addresses that to help organizations like that.
Briefly add also that number 1 and number 2 are kind of, let's call it spoken to in the documents that you submit. So we would already kind of know where the funding is or where you're expecting the funding to come from everything that you're purchasing, as well as whether or not you plan to like charge admission, for example. You would indicate that on the forms that you submit.
Are there any other organizations that are student fee funded that have something similar being removed? Or are we being targeted as SGA?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
I would argue targeted is a very powerful language. Basically, we're working across the university to update policies is probably the most honest answer to give you. So looking at making sure that everything is up to date and content neutral.
All right. Is there any other discussion that would like to be made on this amendment before we move forward to the voting?
I think I have something.
Oh, Jay, go ahead. All right, go
Sorry,
ahead.
really quickly, I think that this might allow for student organizations, again, when we have that voting process, this allows for things not to get caught up because of policy, and it lets the students make that decision when we actually vote for these fund requests. So that's what I'm reading out of this, given that this information is in the the things that, as Erica said, that have to be done already, and on the forms that need to be completed.
All right. That said, we'll go ahead and move forward with the voting. We'll start off with the all in favor voting. So at this time, go ahead and place your vote in the chat. That's 17, 18. All right. Any opposed? And any abstentions? Abstentions. All right. So amendment proposal 11 TAC FY22 has passed with 18 votes in favor, 0 opposed, and 0 abstentions. Okay. So we're running low on time. So sorry, I'm not sure if to do the last 5 minutes. Okay, so I'm gonna skip through some of these agenda items as far as old business. And we're gonna table our EC reports for today. Really quickly, is there any announcements that we'd like to make as EC? And Kevin, do you think that you'd be able to, would you like to table this?
Yes, I don't mind tabling it. Yes.
Okay. And then please, you guys check, I will post these future amendments to get involved. These are amendments for our Senate. So please take a look at those because they will be presented at a future meeting. For our senators, our next Senate meeting will be on the 10th of February. And quick, we'll move to student organization announcements. So Alexis, go ahead with.
Hello, everybody. So these are just a couple of the events that are going to be happening this semester. Really quickly, Hunter Games is going to be a competition between all the colleges. It's going to be a lot of fun. That is going to be on March 24th, 4 to 6 p.m. And the winning college gets a trophy and their dean gets to put it in their office. SG Day is we're going to have a celebration during our General Assembly meeting. It's going to be on Tuesday, March 28th. And we will also be celebrating the student government's 25th year anniversary. So that is really exciting. Homecoming and Family Weekend. It is from March 30th to April 3rd. It's going to be a fun-filled week and weekend. There's going to be a lot to do, including the annual chili cook-off, which I'm really excited about, and you guys should be too. There's going to be a lot going on. And then the president's luncheon is on February 22nd. That is also during the General Assembly meeting, and the president will be talking, and we will be having lunch as well. And then next slide, please. Mini golf is at the Student Involvement Expo, which is on Tuesday, February 1st. I feel like that's a Thursday. Okay, February 1st from 4 to 6 p.m. It's going to be at the Hunter Hall backyard. There is going to be a rock wall. There's also going to be inflatable obstacle course. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And like Shelby said, remember to sign up your orgs for the expo, which is next Tuesday, February 1st. And the deadline for sign up is Friday. And I will give you guys all more information about all these events when they get closer, but just wanted to give you guys an update on what's coming this semester. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Alexis. And we also have Felicia with BSA to talk about some upcoming events as well.
Next slide, please. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. We are so excited to present a couple of Black History Month organizations and presentations presented by SDI as a part of Black History Month in partnership with the Black Student Association. Our first event will be on Wednesday, February 2nd from noon to 1 o'clock. A seat at the table, equality in the workplace, will be facilitated by none other than Dr. Latoya Mills, Associate Director and Student Advocate at the Office of Student Advocacy. This event will be taking place in SDEI. Please come from 12 to 1 in SSCB 1.203. Next slide, please. Black Jeopardy, presented by the Black Student Association, will be on Wednesday, February 9th from 3 to 5 p.m. in SSCB on the second floor in SoCal.
Right.
Next slide. Real Talk with BSA, sponsored by the UHCL Office of Global Learning and Strategy. Please join us for a cultural meal and an exciting panel discussion on cultural appropriation, microaggressions, and police brutality. This event will be on February 16th, and the time and location is to be determined. Please put it in your calendar. We look forward to having as many students, faculty, and staff join us for these upcoming Black History Month events. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. I believe we had some announcements from environmental health and safety. Are y'all on the line?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
And
Okay, sorry, I can't hear very well. So EHS, we updated the temporary food permits. During COVID, for most of the time, we weren't really allowing much food permit activity, but we've started opening that up again. There have been some updates though. So did y'all include the presentation that I made? No, I know we have like a whole minute, so let me.
give you screen sharing.
Okay, well, anyway, if you go on our UHCL website and you do on the search bar, you just search for food permits. The very first link that you come to is going to be for the EHS webpage. It's the forms page. In the very top drop down, you'll see that's the food permits section. And so in there, we mentioned that they're allowed again. There's a link to the new revised procedure. And since it's been revised, it was right before the spring semester started. Everyone has to read it and redo the declaration of acknowledgement, that signature page saying that you read it. So I've got a few food permits out there, and they just basically need to read the SOP and sign and upload the new DOA, declaration of acknowledgement. Notable changes is that rather than just one person signing, everybody that's making or handling food has to read and sign. And you can sign the same page and upload it on your own name or what have you, so we can find it later. Every level of food permit now requires food handler training. The good news is it's only a 2-hour training, and I thought it lasted 2 or 3 years, but lately I've seen them, they last for about 5 years. And it's $7 to $15. Usually I find it for $7 or $10. So it's not too brutal, hopefully. But since we're not allowed to give that training anymore, years ago we could, and it's hard to relay all of that information to everyone. That's why everyone making food, it's in everybody's home kitchen, and then high risk food permits, basically, other than like the baked goods, which is what we typically see, and like the medium risk, like the hot dogs and nachos and stuff like that, where you're just reheating it. The home cooked high risk foods, those are not going to be allowed on campus anymore unless it's a special event that's university sponsored and planned in advance, like the chili cook-off that's cooked on campus and stuff like that. So those require more training and more involvement and what have you. So just to make life easier, less risk and all that good stuff. So I hope you understand. I know it's kind of painful and brutal, but it was needed, and COVID, kind of helped influence that awareness. So, but we're glad to offer food permits again and hope that helps out.
All right, thank you for the updates on that. Real quick, I know this is the incorrect email. I kind of put it there as a filler. Could you give everybody a good way to contact you if they have any questions?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh, sorry.
I turned up my volume.
I have the
Here, let me
email on here. If you could provide
Okay.
a correct email for people to be able to
Oh,
contact
yes,
you.
yes, thank you. So we have two emails. We have a EHS email and we have a food permits email. So food permits at uhcl.edu. And, if our website doesn't answer that question or what have you, or the SP, if it's just not clear. I think I was going to mention that if you're only doing pre-manufactured purchased items, you don't have to have the training if you're simply handing them out and they're already packaged. But if you're making things and opening it and handling it and heating it up, that kind of stuff, then yes, you do. So yeah.
So like we don't need that if we just like order pizza or something like that.
That is a good question. I know I've seen where people will have a pizza delivered and then you give it out right then and there. What we do want people to know is that typically things are hot held and there's like a time limit to it. So like a pizza for like 30 minutes to an hour is fine, but a pizza beyond 4 hours since it was cooked is not fine. And so just like the training spells that out, if you will.
Right.
If your group plans on doing any kind of food related fundraising or what have you, you may end up needing the training at some point. It's also good information to know. I don't leave my leftovers out quite as long as I used to on holidays. But yeah, if it's you order pizza and it does have a time limit. The time limit of 4 hours is supposed to be from the point it was cooked. But since we don't know how long it takes for, things to get there and what have you. So I hope you're not having pizza out for 4.5 hours, but yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
No, we normally get the pizza like within like 10 minutes before the meeting starts.
And if people smell it, I'm sure they'll eat it fast. So it's gone quickly. So.
Good information. Like was said, reach out at the email or check out the website. Just in the interest of time, I'm gonna close out, and then Melissa, I'll ask if you want to stick around for anybody's extra questions if they have questions that they want to ask, and same for anybody who would like to stick around to ask questions. So we're gonna have to table open forum for today. This was a quick update for the February 1st Student Involvement Expo. And then here's closing remarks. Next spring General Assembly meeting will be held on February 1st, 2022 at 11:20 a.m. We'll hold a weekly mindfulness or video activity. If you would like to participate, please be present by 11:15 to sign in and gather important information. We'll reopen at 11:30. So as of right now, our next meeting will be in person in the SSCB Lecture Hall, room 1100. If you'd like to submit to get on the agenda, please have that submission to our SGA email by 12 noon on Wednesday. All right. Here's our quote of the day. If peace means a willingness to be exploited economically, dominated politically, humiliated, and segregated, I don't want peace. If peace means being complacently adjusted to a deadening status quo, I don't want peace. If peace means keeping my mouth shut in the midst of injustice and evil, I don't want it. Peace is not simply the absence of conflict, but the existence of justice for all people. Martin Luther King Jr., When Peace Becomes Obnoxious, March 8th, 1956. So for sure, check out that video that we posted at the beginning of the meeting. And with that, I will adjourn the meeting. Feel free to message us on any of these platforms. Thank you everyone for joining and participating.
Alyssa, I had a quick question. So I filed like, I want to say 5 food permits last week.
Yeah.
So
I sent an email back. I was like, let me just let her know. And I knew we needed to let people know that, yeah.
So do you want me to just update the acknowledgement form with all those signatures and then everything will be okay? I don't have to like refile them all?
No. Yeah, I saved them in there. I have it. That's all you need. Yeah. I saw they were prepackaged stuff. So yeah, you're good.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
I know. And
Really back. Yeah, I'm like, I filed like 5 of them last week.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna send this to everybody for a bit until they know. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Have a good day.